National Emergency Alert System. This is not a test. This broadcast is transmitted at the request of the United States government. Please pay close attention to the following message. Warning, at 12:07 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, numerous unidentified objects of unknown intent and unknown origin simultaneously appeared at high altitudes over multiple locations of Earth's outer space. These objects were detected by the National Radio Astronomy Observatory in San Augustine, New Mexico. The objects are presumed to be some form of controlled aircraft. It is not known if more of these aircraft will arrive or if they will attempt entering Earth's atmosphere. U.S. citizens are encouraged to monitor local media outlets, as more updates will follow as information becomes available.
When it comes to defending our nation and protecting our way of life, the only thing we can't afford is inaction. The American people deserve our very best, and they will have it. As the President will discuss in further detail in the days ahead, the United States Space Force will strengthen our security, it will ensure our prosperity, and it will also carry American ideals into the boundless expanse of space.
All right, Scott, we're a team, and there's nothing to worry about. We come here, and we're going to conquer, and we're going to take some. Is that understood? Yes, sir. That's what we're going to do, sweetheart. We are going to go and get some. All right, people, on the ready line. Are you me? Yeah! Are you me? Yeah! What are you? What are you? Hudson! Get on the ready line, Marine! Get something to do! Get on the ready line! Yo! Move it out! Move it out, goddammit! Get hot! 1, 2, 3, come on, get out, get out, get out! Move it out, move it out, move it out! Move it out, move it out, move it out! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, absolutely badasses!
What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Into the Weird Podcast. It's Zach and Nate. Today we're going to be talking about the Space Force, a huge topic in today's world. I myself am a huge fan of it. I can't speak for Nate on this, but today we're going to discuss it today. And so, Nate, what is your thoughts on Trump's Space Force?
Supports the idea of a Space Force, and the other half is like, how much is it going to cost? But we'll see where it goes from there on this. I know the Vice President brought it up August 9th. That's a couple of days ago. I can't wait to see what him and Trump try to spill out in front of Congress, trying to get them to release the funding for it. But other than that, man, I think it could be a good idea.
I think they're going to make Mexico pay for it.
That's a possibility. I mean, Trump says Mexico should pay for it. That'd be silly. But the rumors is going around. He'll try to make Uranus pay for it.
Hey.
So, yeah. So we're going to see how those guys over there, if they use anything
really?
on Uranus.
Okay.
Let's see how they go for it.
Well, that'll just put us in the Middle East for another 15 years.
I mean, as much as space travel has picked up within a couple of decades, it's starting to pick back up again.
Yeah, and I mean, you think like of private companies like SpaceX, Virgin Galactic. What is the Amazon? Is it Into the Blue? Blue Horizon. That's Blue Horizon. That's what it is. Yeah, I mean, you think about like these people. I mean, they're just tired of waiting around on NASA to do something. So they're just taking matters into their own hands. Which, I mean, if I was a billionaire, I'd be doing the same thing. I want to go up to the moon.
Yeah, I totally agree,
I want to go launch shit up into space.
NASA's just sitting with their hands, sitting on their hands or not doing anything.
Yeah, most of them, they've just all got their foot in their ass and just waiting on.
Heck, if I was
waiting on somebody to do something.
Man, I'd have all kinds of crap on the launch pad ready to rock and roll and go up there.
No doubt. Well, and you and I were on a separate occasion. We were talking about how much funding NASA had during the Cold War. I don't remember what percentage you actually told me of like federal funding they had, but just think about how much space travel would have evolved if they would have kept that same amount of federal funding.
I totally agree, man.
After
they
the Cold
had,
War,
at least 30 or 40%. It was some pretty good sized number.
yeah, and I think you said it was like down to 3 now too, or something.
It's pretty low right now. I mean, but I think it took them probably 20. The moon landing was in '69. They started probably 50s, late 50s. So within 10, 15 years, they went to the moon, starting from scratch. And how long's it been since we've been back to the moon? Forever.
Well, I mean, I think the last time, or at least last documented time, that they told the American people about was what, 71 or 72, something like that. I'm not 100% sure on that. I want to say it was, yeah, actually, but like I said, it was I don't know. And I mean, you think about like how much they could have evolved since then.
Trump Plaza on Mars.
We would definitely be on Mars by now.
We'd be ordering pizza from Domino's. But yeah, I mean, if they had the funding,
we'd be going to the McDonald's in space. It says right here on Wikipedia, the last Apollo mission to the moon was launched at 12:33 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on December 7th, 1972.
Yeah, at least we know.
So, I mean, it's been since then, since we've been to the moon, or at least that we know of.
Since all these private companies get involved in space right now, I say within the next 5-10 years we'll be on Mars, to start a colony or something.
Yeah, well, Elon Musk said that he, in a press conference, he said that he wants to try to be on Mars or have colonization on Mars by 2024. I think he said that he wanted to try to have the first manned
I think it'd be pretty cool. They start
on Mars by 2020.
Oh yeah, and then, I'd say within at least 2 years from now, we should have at least. Oh yeah, I totally agree. We should at least have ships.
It's going to be cool to see how everything plays out.
Maybe do some kind of a small station around Mars, like a smaller version of the ISS floating around Mars. Stuff like that. At least get us a foothold and to start traveling back and forth. But I mean, I see it happening. I hope it does.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. And it takes 9 months to get to Mars, I think, or something like that. I'm trying to wrap my brain around, like, if NASA still had that same funding that they had during the Cold War, how advanced we would be, or how long it would take to get to Mars now. I mean, hell, it might take
a
few hours
Space Force
if they had the same funding. I mean, we don't know.
More money out of, well, hold on, let me rephrase that. It's not going to suck. It's going to steal it from everybody, but I just hope it doesn't take too much from everybody, or they take from another department somewhere like NASA. But it's good to see private companies coughing out their money for it. Hey.
Well, hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully they'll just use whatever funding they use with the military, because I don't know this for sure, but the whole federal funding to the military,
all the branches that we
it
know
goes
of.
to all five branches.
There's always that little
right?
splinter group out there somewhere.
Right. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, there's always that secret intelligence, within the CIA or the FBI or something like that.
So we'll see how that plays out with Congress. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens in the next couple of weeks.
Well, Congress is majority Republican now too, aren't they?
I think so. It's funny when the government wants to spend all kinds of money on something stupid that when a Republican's in charge, the Democrats cry about it. But when their boy did the exact same thing with spending, they cheered it on. So that's the funny part about that stuff.
Well, I could go on and on about liberals and Democrats, but we'll save it for another episode. Because I don't want to ruffle any feathers right now.
Oh yeah, I totally understand. But I mean, it's going to take the private industries. A lot of them probably would enjoy donate more money to NASA.
Well, and I mean, you think about too. I mean, I would say that there's a whole lot more people that are interested in space and space travel or space exploration than say they are. Because I mean, I don't care who you are. Space is fucking cool. I mean, there's so much unknown in space. I mean, there's no telling what we could find.
Oh yeah. Especially someone like me growing up watching Star Trek. There's this one book in the library of the elementary school I went to. I kept that thing the whole school year. Every time I would check it out, it had Mars, like colonizing Mars and the moon. Had a cool moon base on there. But actually, growing up now and seeing they're actually trying to do that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they do it before I'm an old man, because maybe I'll be a millionaire one of these days and have my little space car, go back and forth. That'd be pretty cool. But
that's hilarious.
And also the whole idea of space travel.
Hey,
especially trying to make it cheap and where the average day person can afford it.
Oh yeah.
We'll hush these flat earthers up.
The good old flat earthers. Guys, Into the Weird podcast. We're glad you're listening to us. We're going to be talking about this kind of stuff all the time. So just listen to us, subscribe to us, like our videos. Instagram page coming soon. Facebook page coming soon. Into the Weird podcast. Weirdness for one, weirdness for all. But yeah, Nate, I mean, like you said, you're talking about the the book that you had the entire school year. That's hilarious that you mentioned that, because I didn't have well, I'll put it this way. I read the older Star Wars Old Republic books in middle school, and I mean, Star Wars is very unrealistic. Well, it may or may not be, but it's very unrealistic. But at the time, I was so into it, and I kept that book for a long time, and I really enjoyed it. Like I said, the whole deal with space, it's awesome. Getting back on the topic though about Space Force, Vice President Mike Pence he had a press conference August 9th talking about the sixth branch, or the could be sixth branch of the military. And a quote from him, it says, "Just as we've done in ages past, the United States will meet the emerging threats on this new battlefield. The time has come to establish the United States Space Force, and Defense Secretary Jim Mattis had said last year that he opposed a new department of the military, and he said, at the time, we're focused on reducing overhead and integrating joint warfighting functions. What do you think about that, Nate?
Well, I mean, you got one side wanting the Space Force, and you have the general. You said he was trying not to create another Space Force?
It says last year that he was opposed to creating a new department of the military because he said that they were focused on, or that he was focused on reducing the overhead and integrating joint warfighting functions, whatever that means.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, to be honest with you, all they could probably do is the Air Force already has a Space Command. There's probably about 10, 20,000 of them that do it, and from what I read around, they do a pretty good job. What they could do is take those guys and women and split them up in an own department, but they would have to appoint generals and more government officials to run it. So I can see where they're trying. That would actually cost more money. But if they could do it where they can make that branch different, that's already part of the Air Force, and do more things with what they have, yeah, I'd say.
What do you think? What do you think? I mean, like, Space Force is cool as hell, and nothing's even happened. But what do you think, in your mind, was the reasoning why President Trump was so adamant in creating a Space Force?
Well, I mean, I guess it's either, I know in the past, I think the Chinese have bragged about their satellite killers.
Okay.
They did a launch back in 2007 or so, where they actually launched a missile that blew up one of their own satellites.
Really?
I can see the threat where I think we have, our country alone has over 50% of communication satellites, GPS satellites, weather satellites. We get a lot of our money transactions happening in space. But also that goes around the world too. Like, other countries have a lot invested in space. That's where we get our income. Right. We share information, TV broadcasts, radio broadcasts. And so I think it needs protecting, but we need to play it easy, because if we start moving stuff up in space, military, well, China's going to do it. And next you hear Russia's going to do it. And something crazy will happen, and all of a sudden we're going to look up and see crap falling out of the sky because, I think if we be careful with it, because space isn't very important. That's where all the money is right now. We'll see how it goes, man.
Yeah, we'll, like I said, it's, I'm excited to see how everything plays out. Hopefully everything works out good. Hopefully it doesn't cause any issues. I was talking to my father, just here not too long ago, and he seems to think that the creation of the Space Force was, an idea to take out nuclear missiles before they even reach their target. And that made a lot of sense because, you think about where North Korea was supposed to denuclearize. We don't know what's going on with Russia. I mean, for right now, it seems like Vladimir Putin and President Trump are cool. But who knows what's going on behind the scenes? I think that would be a good thing to knock out nuclear missiles. I think that's one thing that they could be doing with it. But, man, me personally, I think they found something up there, or they found oil on a planet, and got to be the first to get it.
Yeah, that's I can see it. I can use that. I can see that analogy. There's something out there that, as Americans, that we want. But Yeah, I guess a nuclear deterrent will be good to have in place. But I think they tried that back in the 80s. Reagan started wanting to do a Star Wars base thing that would shoot missiles out of the sky.
Wanted to make a Death Star.
I guess it was something like that. It was a bunch of like satellites that shoot laser beams and would shoot nuclear weapons out of the sky.
So let me ask you a question real quick. Do you think that the Space Force soldiers' standard equipment should be an assault rifle, a pistol, and 3 frag grenades?
No, hold on. An SMG, they have to have capability of dual wielding 2 SMGs, 2 plasma grenades, and a battle rifle.
I love it. Well, you got to add the DMR rifle in there too. I mean, we got to be able to snipe aliens before they get to it.
Yeah, I think you're going to need a good sniper, an all-terrain vehicle. That's looks like about the size of a Jeep.
What do you think they would call it? Maybe a Warthog?
I don't know, man. It might be called a Warthog, but I'm thinking Bungie. As soon as they announce the technology, I see an infringement there.
Could be. It's.
But you never know. Bungie could sponsor all this stuff.
You never know. And I was talking to you too, and I completely forgot about it until you brought up Bungie. I had a weird conspiracy in the back of my head that I just came up with, that the creator of Halo, maybe he's from the future, and he time traveled to the past, created Halo for what's in the future with the Space Force. So maybe Halo was a blueprint for the future of what the Space Force is going to be. I mean, one of those weird things. Into the Weird podcast, guys. Weirdness for one, weirdness for all.
Okay, you brought up time travel. Right. Okay, unless he came back from the future to look for an IBM computer. Maybe time travel is possible there on that. Speaking of time travel, do you know who John Teeter is?
No clue.
He was a legit time traveler. Really? Okay. Well, claims to be a time traveler from I think 2036. Me and my little brother, we're big in this weird stuff back in 2000, 2001. There's a guy, his name was John Teeter, was posting on these different blogs about him traveling from the future and all this stuff. But it was a pretty cool story. We don't know if it's real or not. But his whole principle of coming back through time was to collect an IBM computer. Like, it had something to do with the future. But that was totally weird. But, that's what this podcast is about, is to say and do, talk about weird things.
Oh, right. Absolutely. How funny, though, come all the way from the future for an IBM computer. How funny. Funny stuff there.
Yeah, it had to do with something about the processor or something. They quit making that processor, and some supercomputer broke down and needed it or something. It was just a wild story, man.
Sounds crazy. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the whole Space Force deal, I don't know about it. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I'm all for it. I mean, I think we need some defense up in space, too. I mean, why not? Nobody owns space.
Yeah, I see it. Like I said earlier, man, space is where the money's at. Especially if we could figure out the technology to hit that asteroid belt. Yeah. Man, we'd be billionaires right now with all the minerals and everything else in those.
The precious minerals in asteroids. And yeah, I mean, and who knows, a lot of those asteroids could have diamonds in them. I mean, could be some crazy shit up there,
Yeah, if anybody ever gets a chance to check out a TV show, watch The Expanse. It used to come on Sci-Fi Channel, but you can watch it on Netflix now, I think. That was a pretty cool concept about that. We have we need to be a space race. We need to go out.
We need to have a modern day space race.
We need to say goodbye to Earth and start journeying out into the stars. Because I sort of think Earth is our death trap. If we can't leave this place, our race is going to be done.
Oh
for.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, it's I don't know about it. I'm curious to see how everything happens. Like I said, I for one am a fan of President Trump. I voted for President Trump, despite all of his crazy tweets and crazy allegations. I think he's done a fine job as a president. He's the best that we've had since Ronald Reagan, as far as economy-wise, things like that. Foreign policy stuff, I don't know. I don't know much about foreign policy to give you a full opinion on it. But later in the podcast, we'll have one of our friends, and he is a foreign policy guru. That free market and foreign policy guru, but we'll have to save that for another episode.
Oh yeah, there's always going to be new episodes on Into the Weird.